Hi, Simon Chapple here. I'm the Quit Alcohol Coach, and today I wanted to answer a question that somebody put to me last week. The question was, can you please do a video on how to get my mojo back after a spell being alcohol free? I had 21 days alcohol free last month and then another 16, and I've never felt so happy and healthy, but I just seem to have lost the will. And I wanted to share some tips and some techniques that will help you get your mojo back. If you've had a break from drinking and then maybe you've had a setback, you can learn how to turn it into a comeback. You can come back stronger than ever. Before we get into the video, I'd just like to ask you to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy the videos. There's a red square on the screen right now. Simply click that and the bell icon and you'll be notified every time a new video is released. There's new ones every Tuesday and every Thursday. And if you need more help quitting drinking, head over to Join Be Sober, BE Sober, joinbesober.com, and you can sign up to my quit drinking program and you get 14 days completely free. Now, getting your mojo back after you've quit drinking and you've had a setback, it can feel harder the second time that you try to quit. The first time we experience a kind of honeymoon period, we've got a lot of excitement and motivation. And then if we have a setback, it can feel much more challenging to get that mojo back. But I would want you to let go of any feelings of shame or any feelings of guilt from the setback. And we need to get you in a place where you effectively wipe the slate clean and you just let it all go and you're ready to move forward again using what you've learned from your previous experience to make yourself stronger for next time. And I've got a bunch of tips that I'm going to share with you, and they'll help anybody, even if you haven't quit drinking already, or if you're trying to quit again after you've had an episode previously where you quit and you've taken a drink and you're not sure how to get that motivation back. This is all going to help you. We can be affected mentally and emotionally. And as I say, it can be more challenging the second time around. We've got a lot going on. Though the knock from having a setback, it really can cause an up and down in terms of emotions, feelings, and it can feel really, really tough. So it's important to speak it out, get it out there. Actually share that. So if you're feeling sadness or anger, or you're beating yourself up with negative self-talk, don't suppress it. Don't keep it inside. Make sure you share that. And you might share it in a sober community like my Facebook group, or you might share it with a friend or a colleague or a therapist, someone you feel completely safe with. But make sure you get those feelings out. Name the feelings, label the feelings, and express them. The only antidote for feelings of shame and guilt is bringing them out into the light. It absolutely works. So don't keep it to yourself. It's like carrying a heavy baggage around with you when you suppress it. Whereas if you get it out, you're going to make yourself feel a lot lighter. Now, it's important to know you've done this once, you can do it again. You can absolutely do it again. And the reason why you can do it again is because you're better equipped. And it's important to understand this. Every time that you have a setback, and maybe you do lose your mojo, you'll have it back by the end of this video, I promise. Every time that you have a setback, you do become stronger. You learn something new every single time. Imagine if you were trying to climb a mountain and the first time you tried, you haven't got any equipment whatsoever. You're ill-equipped and you get part way up and then you fall down, you injure yourself because you didn't have the right equipment, the right shoes, the right trousers, etc. You didn't have the right ropes, the right hooks. But this time you learned something. So you realized I'm going to need some ropes, I'm going to need some boots. So you equip yourself better the second time around. You don't get everything, but you get a lot more kit and you get further up the mountain before you fall down again. And this time you realize, actually, I'm going to need some other equipment. I'm going to need some proper grappling hooks, and I'm going to need some specialist ropes and a helmet in case I get hit by a rock. And the next time you get even further, you get the point. Every time you have a setback, you equip yourself better. And I think one great way to work on your own motivation, your own enthusiasm, and reigniting your passion and your excitement is to actually realize how better equipped you are. Try and identify what you've learned that puts you in a position now that makes you stronger than perhaps the first time you ever quit drinking. It can be really easy to start saying to ourselves, well, I can never do this. I've tried 5 times. I can never quit. It's complete BS. Do not listen to yourself if that sort of talk is going on in your head. Instead, start to look at how much better equipped you are now. What equipment have you got for climbing your mountain now that you didn't have? You might have identified certain things, certain people, places, situations that you know are a threat to your sobriety, and you've decided to avoid those places until you feel strong enough, or avoid those people. That is equipping yourself. You might have thrown all the alcohol out of your house. You might have started meditating daily or journaling every day because you've realized the benefits. You might have started opening up to people about your story and sharing. You might be getting one-to-one sessions with somebody to help coach you on your journey. Whatever it is, I guarantee if you look closely, you will be better equipped. And make sure you ask yourself the question when you start beating yourself up with negative self-talk, what's actually good about this? What's good about this situation? The easy one, as I've mentioned, is that we learn something. So you learn something, you become stronger. That has to be good. But there's often other good things that you can find in a situation. So try and explore anything that you take as a negative to find the good in it, and start focusing on every single win, every small goal that you achieve. Even if it's just going to the store and not buying alcohol, that's a victory. Celebrate it. It might be that you've done 2 days, 3 days, 4 days without drinking. That's a win. Break them down into smaller wins. Get yourself a vision board and start planning what the future version of you looks like, and break the goals down. You might want to change careers or do something absolutely massive. Maybe you want to do a parachute jump. Break it all down into smaller goals. What are the steps you need to achieve in order to get there? Every step you go through is another victory. Celebrate those victories, not just with your sobriety, but with your entire life. Because if you've got goals and objectives and you realize that you're doing this for the future version of you, the you in 5 years' time, not the you now, that's the person you're doing this for. It starts to create a bigger picture, and you realize that you're working to something that's almost bigger than you and better than you. And you become that person. You step into that new life. And it's a really amazing thing when that starts to happen. So really think about and reflect on what you want to achieve, not just with quitting drinking, and get some focus on that. That will definitely motivate you. For me, it was running marathons, and I really focused myself on my training and wanting to achieve those goals. And it helped me. It distracted me from many of the thoughts about not drinking. Make sure you know your personal values too, and ensure that your personal values align with your life. If you've never looked at your personal values, it's probably holding you back. They are vital. Maybe your personal value might be laughter, humor, yet you work in a really boring location. You don't laugh much with your friends or your partner, and you really don't have much of that in your life, yet it's a personal value to you. Well, if that need is not being met, you're going to feel discomfort. So it's important to make sure that somehow that you're bringing that into your life. Maybe it's just a case of watching a comedy show every single day so that you get the laughter. But one way or another, you need to ensure your values are being met. So do some work around that, and it will make a real difference. It will give you a sense of focus and a sense that you're meeting your own needs, because you're responsible for yourself. No one else is going to do this for you. There's lots of tips, lots of tactics, lots of coaches and people who can guide you and point you in the right direction. But ultimately, you're an independent adult and you're responsible for yourself. So stand on your own 2 feet, know what you need, what your values are, and get excited about the fact that you're growing and that you're becoming a better version of who you are. That's an amazing thing. And start to shift your perspective. Sometimes it feels a bit like we're stuck in quicksand, and whatever you try, it just doesn't work. But Have you been trying new things, or have you just been trying variations of the same old things? So maybe you've read a couple of books and you keep going back to the same things over and over, but you know they don't work. So if you can shift your perspective, you can regain your mojo. Try doing some of the old things in a completely different way. Change it up, think outside the box, and change the way you look at things, shift your view, shift your perspective, and it can really, really help you find new solutions and create a new sense of confidence within you. You might need to think outside the box, you might need to brainstorm it with different people, but actually try and think about how you can change the game, how you can do things differently. There was a client I was working with who was finding herself triggered every single evening. She would always drive the same route home from work, and she went past a store that she used to buy alcohol at. She didn't really realize it. She didn't put two and two together. But the shift of perspective for her was actually just finding a new route home, going a different way, because that was what was triggering her. Every time she drove past the store, subconsciously, it created thoughts about alcohol, and they then turned into a trigger. So identify what those areas are and get creative about how you can potentially do things differently. And make sure you've got support around you. Supportive people can help ease the load. It can feel like we've got 100% of the weight on our own shoulders, that we're doing things on our own and we're out here isolated on this journey, and it's not the case. My Facebook sober community has over 15,000 members. You will find support in there, and I'm sure you've got supportive friends, family, and people that you know who would love to help you if you were able to open up to them, become vulnerable, completely honest, share your feelings with people that you trust, share what it is you're trying to achieve, and tell them how they can help you, what your expectations would be if they were able to do that. And you'll soon find that you've probably got your own team of supportive people who want you to succeed. If you've tried quitting drinking multiple times and you feel like you're just not getting it, one step you can take is to get a one-to-one quit alcohol coach. There's a couple of them on my team. If you need somebody, I can make a recommendation. Just head over to my website or reach out to me. It can be an amazing way to feel accountable, to get a structure and all the tips, tactics, and tools that you need. I think with many people, just the simple fact that they are working one-to-one with somebody, they feel like they don't want to let them down or let themselves down, makes a massive difference. And it's not always as expensive as you might think. So if you've really been struggling and you've given this what you feel is your best shot on your own, think about a one-to-one coach. They will be sure to get you motivated, get you excited, and make you feel really accountable. And also start thinking about what boundaries you've put in place on your journey. Have you conducted an audit of your life and your home? What do you need to put in place? And when I talk about boundaries, boundaries make our life better. They stop pain from getting in. Imagine if you had an invisible bubble around you, and that bubble kept you safe from any kind of emotional turmoil or painful feelings. And that bubble protects you by blocking people, situations, behaviors, places, thoughts, destructive feelings. They don't get in because you place appropriate boundaries in their way. So for example, if there was somebody who you know in your life, maybe a friend, and you know that when you meet, you only ever drink together. And if you were to say you weren't drinking, that person would encourage you. They might even buy drink without even asking you, because they just want you to drink with them, which, by the way, is nothing to do with you. It's probably because they're fearful of their own relationship with alcohol. Well, if there's people like that in your life, set a healthy boundary. Make a decision not to see them in locations where they might push you or tempt you to drink. Sure, meet them for a coffee, meet them for lunch, but put suitable boundaries in place. And you don't necessarily need to share these boundaries with the individual if you don't need to. Sometimes you do need to, but you don't have to. You can just keep them to yourself and have them as your own personal boundaries, your own personal rules. But stay far away from negativity. When things are going wrong and we're finding ourselves in these situations that challenge us and we're worried, our emotions are running high, the negative attitude can come along. And it's an understandable development. We go from having a thought through to maybe a triggering feeling, and before we know it, we're full of negativity. I just can't do this. I'm never going to achieve it. But from here, it's only a short jump before we start engaging in negative and destructive behavior and spending time with people who fuel our negativity. So negative thinking leads to negative behavior, and it doesn't take long before one is a stepping stone to the other. That negativity can quickly spiral out of control. And before we know it, we're back into the same old patterns of behavior. So if you're serious about getting back on track, you owe it to yourself to stay away from negative thinking, negative people, and negative situations. Surround yourself with positivity. I often talk about people who radiate positivity and people who drain our positivity. Identify people. Are they a radiator or are they a drain? You can make your own decision, and then you can choose the people that you align yourself with. And that is a healthy boundary. And many people have become long-term sober after a setback. I want you to know that. I've worked with thousands of people all around the world. Very, very few people quit drinking and succeed the first time. Most people have multiple attempts, they learn things on the way, and they get stronger and stronger. And that is all it means. It just means there's more learning to do, more to learn from the setback. Understand what it was trying to tell you. What did this teach me? And start focusing on what you're going to gain when you become alcohol free. You're not losing anything. What are you going to gain in this? And be really honest with yourself. Do you still think there are any benefits to drinking? I used to believe that alcohol helped me relax, it eased my stress, and it allowed me to have fun. They were all completely wrong. They were false beliefs and they held me back. If you still have beliefs like that, write them down. What are they? And ask yourself, absolutely, are they really true? And dig into them. Does alcohol really help you have fun? Sure, maybe for the first hour or two, you have fun as the drug kicks in and your inhibitions lower and there's a chemical reaction. But after that, no, it's not. Hangovers aren't fun. The regrettable behavior is not fun. Craving for more alcohol the next day is not fun. That's not fun. So just to say alcohol allows me to have fun is not a true statement. It's a false belief. So I would encourage and invite you to explore your beliefs in some depth, because limiting beliefs can hold us back in a big way. And think about what those beliefs are, because they will guide you to what your needs are. So if you have a need for fun in your life and alcohol is currently meeting that need, where can you meet that need elsewhere? How else can you bring that into your life? Create new beliefs that don't limit you, and then identify where you can get that need met. And you'll find that suddenly you're able to bring those wonderful things into your life, the fun, the relaxation, things that de-stress you, by using other strategies such as meditation, comedy, aligning with different people, taking up hobbies and new activities. Maybe you'll get into something creative like art or music, whatever it might be. Give it some thought, start to focus on it. And think about what could be different this time around. What could you do differently? As I say, that new sense of perspective makes such an enormous difference on this journey. It really, really will help set you up for success. And there can be occasions where people haven't dived into this with both feet. They still feel a bit like they're sat on the fence. They haven't quite made that decision and made that complete commitment to becoming alcohol free. And maybe that's what you need to do. I've seen occasions where people have taken a break from drinking, but they've had a vacation planned, or there's a big night out coming along soon, maybe a wedding or a party scheduled for the future. And they think, well, okay, I'll become alcohol free up until then, but I know I'm going to drink when I go on that vacation or when I go to that event. So this time, Maybe now is the time to make that complete commitment. Become totally accountable and share it with people. Tell them that you've become alcohol free. Let them know what your boundaries are and what your expectations are. And make a non negotiable commitment with yourself. What is it that's going to happen if you do drink? Maybe you'll initially say that you're going to take a 30-day break from drinking, and your non negotiable will be that if you drink during that time, you will commit to doing 60 days after that. And when you get to the end, maybe 4 or 5 days before the end of that break that you're having from drinking, you will choose to extend it. You might say, right, I've done 30 days. I'm feeling a lot better. I feel calmer, happier, more at peace in myself. So now I'm going to extend that. I'm going to do 90 days and take it that bit further. But definitely have some non-negotiables in place. Someone recently shared with me that their non-negotiable, if they drank during the time that they had committed, which was 30 days, was that they would go and see their doctor if they drank, because they knew that if they weren't able to take a break for 30 days, they clearly didn't have control of their relationship with alcohol and they needed to get some professional help. So face up to the fact that living alcohol free is most definitely the best path to take. If you understand that this will become your new normal and it quite quickly becomes a new habit. Yes, there's some discomfort to start with, but you've got every reason to be motivated and to get excited because of all of the wonderful things that you're going to gain on this journey. Know that moderate drinking just isn't an option. It's an illusion. We all try it, we all play with it, and we all fail at it. We all end up going back to our old pattern of destructive behavior. So get that out of the way. And maybe this is part of the learning. Just get rid of it. Try it if you want to try it, and then move on from it. And know that those setbacks and those experiences have set you up for further success. It's okay to have setbacks. They happen to almost everybody. Simply keep learning. Keep growing, but do take responsibility for you. You're the only person that you've got to live with for the rest of your life. So start looking after yourself, putting yourself first in your own life. Make sure that you are at the center of your universe and you're giving yourself the love and the care that you deserve. And only you can make this change. Like I say, I can guide you, I can point you in the right direction, but ultimately you've got to make those decisions. You're going to be the one with the power of choice, the power to make the important decisions. A couple of other quick tips. Get yourself some alternative alcohol-free drinks. Look online and find some of the exciting botanicals or zero alcohol proseccos, wines, beers, whatever you fancy. Obviously, for some people, these can be a trigger, but try them, explore them. The botanical drinks don't tend to be a trigger, and they go great with tonics and soft drinks just to add a bit of sparkle to them. So check them out. Get excited. There's a whole world of alcohol-free drinks out there. Journal, please journal every day. Set your intentions for the day ahead, whether that's to meditate, to exercise, to go for a coffee with friends, or just to speak to a friend and share what's coming up for you and to listen to how they're getting on in their own lives. Do journal and set your daily intentions. In fact, if you don't want to write out paragraph after paragraph in a journal, simply setting your daily intentions is enough, and then keep a log of any emotions or feelings that come up throughout the day. If you're a member of my quit drinking program, there's an app that does that. There's also other apps available that will allow you to track your mood and your emotions throughout the course of the day. The data that this gives you, not just the app tracking and the mood tracking, but your journal, you can track your sleep, you can notice everything that's coming up and gather data all along the way. The data sets us up for future success. It allows us to make changes and it allows us to notice where we need to make improvements. But if we keep staying on this path of drinking, whether that's every day or binge drinking, it's only going to lead to one place, and that place is misery. You need to change path. You need to change direction and start walking towards a place of positivity. Yes, it can feel tough at times. Yes, there's going to be times when the old path will try and call you back. It will try and tempt you because it's been a long-standing habit and it's deeply ingrained in your mind. However, you can stay firm. You can use all the tactics and the tools that I share on my YouTube channel, on my website, to help you get really set for success. So no matter what the situation, there's always tips and tactics. If you immerse yourself into learning, if you treat this like it's your new hobby, and put it first, make it the most important thing in your life right now until you feel really, really strong. And then it doesn't need to be the most important thing in your life. But until you get to that place, put it in front of everything. Everything that you do, ask yourself that question. Is this serving my sobriety, or is this putting my sobriety at risk? And you'll soon know the answer. You'll soon be able to make the decision. And as the weeks pass by, you start to feel great. You start to notice the changes, and you start to just become hungrier and hungrier for living the alcohol-free life. You'll be making new friends in online support groups. If you can go to face-to-face meetings, you'll start making friends there, and you'll just find that you grow into it and you start to love it, and you'll start to wonder why you ever drank in the first place. As I say, if you need more help, join my quit drinking program. It's absolutely brilliant. There's a wonderful community of people in there. We've got an 80+ lesson audio course. There's tools, there's apps, there's live coaching sessions. You get the first 2 weeks free. And if you decide to carry on after that, it's the same price as 2 bottles of wine a month. It's nothing. It's really worth getting involved in if you feel you need some extra support. So hopefully those tips give you an idea of how to get your mojo back, whether you've already quit drinking, whether you're new to quitting drinking, or whether you have become sober, had a setback, and you're just not sure how to pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and move forward. There's another video on my YouTube channel called How to Bounce Back from a Setback. If that's happened to you, I'd recommend you watch that one too.